So let me ask you something. Have you ever caught yourself running your retirement income numbers again after a bad month in the market or in your portfolio? Or maybe you wanted to take that trip, right, with your wife or your spouse, but you didn't, not because you couldn't afford it, but because you weren't sure, right, what is your guaranteed income for the rest of your retirement, or that grandkid that you have that needed help with a car, with college, that you did the math in your head first, but you did it anyway, but it still bugged you right to this day if you're not going to run out of money during retirement despite having a big portfolio of investments. Or here's the one nobody says out loud. You've wondered what happens to your wife if you go first, right? Whether she'd even know what to do with any of it. So if any of that sounds familiar, you don't have a money problem. Obviously not, right? You're a high net worth retiree or approaching retirement. You've got something else and it's got a name, okay? So here's what happened, right? Your dad, your mom, your parent probably had a pension, right? Back in their days, worked somewhere for 30 years, retired, and a check showed up every month until they died. They didn't have to run any numbers. They didn't have to check the market. They didn't have to do any of this. And behind that check was an insurance company with actuaries, people whose actual job was guaranteeing income for life for those retirees. And they could do that because they were spreading it across 10,000 people. Some die at 70, some die at 95. So it averaged out. Then, somewhere in the 80s, companies did the math and went, yeah, this is expensive. So they ended instead everybody a 401k and called it freedom, which is where we are right now. But they didn't just hand you an account. They handed you the actuary's job as well. So you're now doing the thing the insurance company used to do. So you're guaranteeing your own income for the rest of your life, except you've got one life to plan for, not 10,000. So you cannot average anything out. And you don't know the one number that you'd actually need, which is for how long do you need that money? Okay. So you became the pension. That's what happened. And that's why you're running numbers at 3 in the morning. It's not a discipline problem. Nobody can do that job. And so here's what that costs you, right? And it's not what you think. There's a number I keep coming back to. Roughly 4 in 10 retirees in the United States die with more money than they retired with. And people hear that and go, good, they were careful, right? They were smart with their money. But that's not careful. That's 30 years of being scared to spend your own money. They didn't run out, they just never got to use it. And that's the real cost. Not running out. It's the trip you didn't take. It's saying no to something you could easily afford because you don't know if you can afford it forever. And there's a difference between can I afford this and can I afford this forever? That second question is the one that eats people alive, right? And so, what a floor does, right, is that it just deletes that question. The bills get covered every month. Doesn't matter what the market does, doesn't matter if you live until 150 years old. Your balance doesn't change. What changes is you stop doing the math. And if you're married and you go first, well, her income or his income doesn't move, not a dollar. She's not or he's not learning a portfolio at 78 years old. The check just shows up no matter what happened, guaranteed for the rest of your life. So, why would I know any of this, right? So, quick thing on me because you should know who's talking, obviously. So, hopefully, by the way I look, you can guess that I'm not a retiree and I'm not licensed as well to sell you anything. What I do is I run the company that connects to the professionals who do this for a living. So, I see a lot of these numbers. We're seeing thousands of applicants coming in every single month of high net worth retirees with $250,000 in assets in their portfolio, 500,000 up to millions of dollars, right? And the higher amount, obviously, the more income you can get for the rest of your life. And a lot of those retirees, or people approaching retirees, they just don't have a clue. They don't know how much they could take out of their portfolio to live during their retirement and how much as well and for how long? These are the most common questions. And honestly, me not being licensed is kind of the point. I don't get paid more if you end up in one thing or another. I just cannot. So when someone on my team, right, tells you this isn't a fit, that's just the truth. And you will most likely not get that anywhere else. All right. So most people get this far and go, okay, I get it. I'll do it in a few years. And there's a completely rational reason for that. I'm not going to argue against that, right? Let's say you have $500,000 and you're 65. The simplest version of the contract is about $3,165 a month guaranteed for life. Okay. But the same money at 70, about $3,625. And at 75, roughly $4,250 per month, right? So that's not a sell or a promotion. That's just how it works. And I'm going to be very clear about how that works. So they figure they're paying a 75-year-old for fewer years so they can afford a bigger check. So waiting 5 years gets you 13% more every month forever. So why wouldn't you wait? That's what I thought as well. But here's what that misses, right? You wait from 65 to 70 years old. Yeah, bigger check every month, but you also collected nothing for those 5 years. 5 years at $3,165 a month, that's $189,900 that you just didn't get at all. And that's gone, not delayed, it's just completely gone. But here's the question: how long does an extra $460 take to make up $190,000? So do the division: 413 months. That's 34 years. And you started at 70. So 104 years old, 70 plus 34 years, that's 104 years old. That's the break even. So you'd have to live to 104 for waiting 5 years to have been the right call. And obviously, spending money from 65 to 70 is worth a lot more than spending money after 100 years old. And I figured, okay, maybe that's just those two ages. So I ran it at 65 to 75 years old. Give up 10 years of checks. Get $217 a month more by waiting 10 years. The break even now is, again, 104 years old. Same number twice. And that's not me picking numbers, right? That's how they price it. The insurance companies that provide those annuities already did the math. They set the older checks. So waiting comes out at about even if you make it to 104 years old, and even worse if you don't. So when somebody tells me they'll look at this in a few years, what they're actually saying, and they don't know they're saying it, is I'm betting I live to 104 years old. Check it yourself. Look up immediate annuity payout rates by age in the United States. It's public. And then there's the right now. And that part is true no matter what the economy does. And here's what's true specifically for right now. These get priced off interest rates, right? Rates went way up in 2022 and 2023. So the numbers that you can get today are the best they've been in more than 20 years. Again, this is public information. You can look it up to verify the facts. The feds already are cutting right now. So most people expect more of it. The insurance companies have already started dropping their rates. And here's the part that matters a lot more for you. Whatever rate you lock in this year, you lock the day that you sign for life. So it never moves again. So you lock a good rate. So that's yours for the next 50 to 60 years, no matter how long you live. But lock after they drop, and that's also your number two, whether good or bad. So both things point the same direction. You wait, you lose money you didn't collect, and you probably lose the rate as well.